What is going on, everybody? Back at it again with another YouTube video. And today, before I get started, as always, thank you again for all the support through what we're going through right now. Hopefully, sports and life itself can get back on track sooner rather than later. It means a lot, though, that all of you are still supporting the videos, that all of you are still watching them and subscribing to the channel, even though there's really very minimal to talk about. I've been really stretching with these draft videos, and at this point in time, it's really whatever news even is in the hashtag of Eagles football or Phillies baseball or Sixers basketball or Flyers hockey. I'm gonna try to post about it just because there's literally the draft is in 6 days now, and after those 3 days, obviously I'll make a video after every day, and then at the end I'll do a big grading video or whatever. But after that, it's going to be very tough to talk about anything at this point in time. There's going to be a lot of conspiracy theory videos. What could happen to this guy, what could happen to that guy, what I think is going to happen with this team, that team. You guys, when the time comes, within the next 2 weeks, if there are still if there's really nothing to talk about left, then I'll have to figure something out, and I'm still going to try to get out daily content. Yesterday, I was super busy. I actually had to cut down a tree outside my house and mow the lawn and all that. But today, just wanted to get on here, talk about Denzel Mims, because he is a guy that the Eagles have been talking about more in depth, and they've been looking out a lot more closely as the draft is only 6 days away. And I like Mims. He's the only receiver in this draft that's actually over 6 foot, which is actually pretty impressive. You can't teach height. So, when you throw it up to him, a jump ball, cornerbacks are not that tall. And, and the fact that this man could run a 4.38 in his 40 time, and he had by far the fastest cone drill in the draft day combine thing. At his weight, at his height, it's huge. That's a huge game changer. 207, 6'3", and ran a 4.38 in the combine. That is impressive. That is very, very, very impressive. Now, he's a 4-year player from Baylor. He didn't start in his freshman year. And, his stats are good. They are good stats. 2,925 yards through his 4-year career, 28 touchdowns, 186 receptions, and 15.6 yards from scrimmage since he stepped into the scene at Baylor University. Now, I don't watch much college football. I watch the SEC a lot. I find that, I love Joe Burrow, and, my dad's an Alabama fan, so that's always really on. But I don't really pay attention to college football like that, and I didn't really expect, obviously, when I started this channel in October. In 7 months, I wasn't expecting to be talking about the draft and these kids from the combine as much as I am now. I never thought that there was going to be a quarantine with no sports. That is really the main reason why. And I say this to my friends all the time. If there were sports going on right now, my channel would be going crazy. I would be putting out 2 to 4 videos, maybe even more every day. You have the Sixers playoffs, you have the Flyers playoffs, you have the Eagles draft, and then you have Phillies games every day. But I'm going to work with what I got, and I'm going to make a Denzel Mims video today and probably a Justin Jefferson video tomorrow, because both of those guys could possibly go at 21 if the Eagles don't trade up or trade back. If they stay, both of those guys could definitely go with the 21st pick in this year's draft in the first round. Now back to Denzel Mims. He had a good sophomore year. He had the most yards, but his senior year was his best season. He had 1,020 yards, 12 touchdowns, 66 receptions, and 15.5 yards from scrimmage in last year. Now, some of his pros are he is he's very good on the jump ball. He has very good hands. His cons is his vertical quickness. That's what I read. I mean, I'm going off of what I read, and I don't know much about Denzel Mims. I've heard of him, but I didn't really pay attention to him, during the season. I just didn't. It's just not my thing. I don't watch college, I watch pros. But, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, Philly 500 and, all those guys talk about, they would take him and I've even read that Denzel Mims could easily go in the top 21. Whether it's before, during, and if you have to trade back, maybe even after. Who knows? But he could definitely be a guy that goes 21. A guy that is 6'3", who runs under I've said this before. I've said this earlier in the video. A guy that runs 4.38, that is 6'3", the only receiver that is above 6 foot in this year's draft. That's scary. That's scary for some teams. And, some articles and, the draft combine articles said that he might not be a starter, his first season, but he'll definitely be a starter within his first 2 years. Well, I think on the Eagles, he's an automatic starter. And again, I've said this in a couple videos past, and I'll say it again. You need to draft a automatic starter in round 1, possibly even round 2, and you're pushing it with round 3. But you have to draft an automatic starter in round 1 and possibly in round 2. You have to. Now, Howie has said that he has not had the best drafting of the wide receiver position in his tenure as GM. Now, we know that. There's been one Philadelphia Eagles receiver since Howie Roseman has been GM that has been re-signed, and that guy was Riley Cooper. Now, he did draft Macklin. He did draft Deshaun, who is now back on the team. And Chip Kelly might have a big reason to do why those guys didn't get re-signed, and, LaShawn got traded, and, that whole Chip Kelly era was awful. I'm just thankful that we didn't go and trade up so many picks from Marcus Mariota. I'm very thankful that we did not go get Marcus Mariota, because where is he now? He's a backup quarterback in Oakland. He's backing up Derek Carr, and now Derek Carr's a good player. I'm not knocking Derek Carr, but Mariota was the second overall pick, and now he's already a backup. That's not good. That's just awful. In his first, his first contract year? I mean, he's making $8 million a year. I give him props for that, for being a backup, making $8 million. I mean, who knows what's going on in Vegas, though. I think I said Oakland before, but it is the Las Vegas Raiders. So, earlier today, John Clark from NBC tweeted out, quotes, I've talked to the Eagles a lot. I've talked to them like 4 or 5 times last week. And that was Denzel Mims' quote. Are the Eagles going to draft Denzel Mims 21? Because, as I said in my video a couple days ago, CeeDee Lamb was like that guy that Howie Roseman wanted. Like, Howie Roseman said he's the apple of my eye. He's absolutely in love with CeeDee Lamb. And if they don't draft Ruggs, Lamb, Judy, or probably Jefferson, but he said the top 4 receivers are gone. Now that's Lamb, Judy, and Ruggs. We know the 3. Was he talking about Denzel Mims as the 4th receiver, or was he talking about a guy like Justin Jefferson? That's what you have to ask yourself. Was this whole time, was he talking about Mims, or was he talking about Jefferson? Because who knows? Who knows what is going inside Howie Roseman's head? Nobody knows. And that is why this time of year is so important, because I've said this multiple times in multiple draft videos that I've done. You have to get Carson Wentz help now. You have to do it. He's entering the prime of his career. If you wait and keep on waiting, and if you wait until next year, the year after, Carson's going to have barely anything. He's not going to have anything to the prime of his career. Now, what is a prime? The prime of his career is probably 27 to like 32, 33, 34. He's a quarterback. It all depends on his durability throughout his career. Like, he's had injuries. He's tore his ACL. He's had a broken back. He's got a concussion. And it's put him out of games. Now, we all know that. But now you are entering the prime of Carson Wentz's career. You need to get this man some help. You gave him 5 years, $100 and something million. You gave him his contract. Now it's time to get him some help, because you're never going to win anything with the receiving core you have now, because it's just not going to last. It's not going to last. Deshaun is, 32, 33? His durability has gone down a lot. He hasn't played a full season in a long time. Is Greg Ward Jr. going to be that guy to make plays? He could be, but I'd rather have a guy from the draft. Or what about a trade scenario? What about if you go out and get Odell? Like, honestly, you just need to get him some help. Because the guys you have now, Alshon is older. He's basically on one leg. Deshaun can't stay healthy for a full season, or at least he hasn't in the past couple years. Greg Ward is a practice squad player. He was a practice squad player last season. And J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, we just don't know about him yet. So you can't really beat around the bush at this point in time, because you need to get Carson Wentz a receiver. You waited. We didn't sign a single offensive player except Nate Sudfeld in free agency. Or we haven't yet. We don't have, a third down back or a third running back or whatever you want to call it. We don't have, a left guard or a left tackle. We just don't have. We're missing a lineman. And, the receivers are a big what if. Because what if Deshaun goes down? What if Greg Ward goes down? Well, now you're stuck where you were at last year. You are bringing up players. You're bringing players off the street. And now you're putting Wentz in a situation where you should never put your starting franchise quarterback. And that's what this draft is coming down to. That is why this draft is so important. And getting a guy like Denzel Mims, who is a 6'3", and is a fast receiver, who has reliable hands from what I've seen here, that is what you are looking for. You're looking for an automatic starter to be with Carson throughout his prime of his career. Whether you want to trade up for Lamb, Ruggs, or Judy, whether you want to stay at 21 for Mims or Jefferson, or whether you want to trade for a guy like Odell Beckham Jr., if possible. You just got to go out and get Carson some help. Now that is it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're at like 313 subs right now, 314, something like that. Let's try to get to like 320, maybe. Hit that sub button, hit that like button, and comment down below what your thoughts are on Denzel Mims. I will see you tomorrow with a Justin Jefferson video, basically just like this. I'll probably be putting out receiver or whatever, linebacker, receiver, mock draft profiles for the next six days. So, again, thank you all for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I am out. Peace.